Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Enlighten Up podcast. Of course, I am here with my favorite Scorpio and a queen, the lady of the night, the lady of the underworld, Mary Dusina. And she is here to give all of you all of the important details of this very powerful and intense full moon in Scorpio that is happening today. As this airs. And of course, this particular full moon, whenever it's a full moon, it's intense, like emotions are running high. But when it's a Scorpio full moon, ooh, my goodness, it's an even more intense full moon. But when its ruler Pluto is squaring the moon and creating a very tense alignment here, a T-square between the sun and the moon, well, that's bringing up a need to choose, a need to make a choice, a need for action, change. Change is on the horizon here. And what I'd like to just share with you briefly before Mary jumps in and expands upon this, which she does so beautifully, is this full moon is offering you a very big opportunity. And I say big opportunity because we are coming off the conjunction of the Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus. And that is still bleeding into this period of time. That conjunction will be continue to be felt through into May. And it is setting a new cycle ahead. But what is happening is something is needing to expand, is needing to be learned, to be taken to a higher place of understanding and evolution. In many ways, a new innovation of yourself. But in order to do that, you really do need to think about what do you finally have to let go of as this full moon culminates. Okay. And be willing to embrace, which will undoubtedly be change that almost scares you. But I say this because with the moon creating a 90-degree angle, a square to Pluto, the ruler of the underworld, the ruler of power, the ruler of transformation and change, the ruler of control. What are you willing to let go of controlling and to allow yourself to embrace something that is a little uncertain, a little unknown, a little unfamiliar to you, but knowing that it's going to create some way of evolving your future dreams and goals, something that you're newly going to be stepping into, because when that moon leaves the square and comes back around 1 week later and meets Pluto in Aquarius, which remember, Pluto is in Uranus' home sign. Uranus just had a conjunction with Jupiter. This means that there is a reward that could be coming your way if you have the courage to let go of the thing that no longer serves you, which is again very Scorpio energy, and allow that death to happen so the rebirth of who you are innovating yourself or your life is allowed to come through. Mary, welcome to the show.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for such, not just a thought-provoking opening, but what, as I've studied for 30 years with the First Nations Indigenous, the original people's medicine ways. To me, that's powerful medicine in our medicine bag. And so it's the air that we wear. It's the atmospheric, celestial, heavenly, as above, so below, celestial gravity, the gravity of the moment, the suddenness of Uranus. No matter what sign it's in a sign that tends to resist sudden, spontaneous, combustible type of change. Uranus is in Taurus, been there for a while. Jupiter, which spends about a year in one of the zodiac signs of Taurus, is there adding a benevolence, adding a nice aroma, a nice lure toward the change that's required to be more inviting, softer. Jupiter is our benefactor. Jupiter is saying, look, Uranus is already there. Uranus, Pluto's in Aquarius, and Aquarius's governor is the planet Uranus. And here we have the axis, actually it's a yin-yin of the two magnetic feminine zodiacal energies of Scorpio Taurus, because in astrology, and believe me, there's layers and chapters and enlightenments that just keep on giving when you embrace the star tools, the star language of astrologic or astropsychology. So you have with Scorpio, who is ruled or governed by the energetic frequencies of Pluto. You have Pluto active at this Scorpio full moon, as Nicole so aptly noted. And so Scorpio, if you look at Scorpio's highest octave, find the Scorpio, step one, find the Scorpio Taurus houses in your natal chart. And if you're a little limited on funds, or you're kind of wanting to do some self-study before you actually hire the astrologer, which is very advised, the astrologer to help further you on what themes, celestial themes, lie ahead with these eclipses, locate through one of the internet free sites or the mini astrologers. Now, oh my God, there's one on every corner on YouTube and out there, but there's lots of places, thankfully, that you can enter your birth data and at least find out your ascendant rising sign, and that sets the order of the houses on the celestial clock, 1 through 12 houses. So, for example, if you are a solar Taurus or a Scorpio, if you're born on Earth during the time of the sun being in Scorpio or Taurus, it's automatically one of your strongest full moons of this numerological 8-year of 2024. So the infinity right now is spotlighting the water feminine yin sign of Scorpio and the earth feminine earth sign of Taurus. So what we have is we have a waterfall in the mountains. You're hiking, you love the trees, Taurus, you're coming across the pathway, the energy, no matter what the temperature is outside, becomes cooler when you enter into the lushness of the trees and the forest. And then for many people, when they come upon the waterfall, it's like, oh my God, look at that, nature's bounty, nature's effluvia of the life-giving waters. And so Scorpio is ruled by the sign of Pluto. Pluto is the phoenix that arises after the combustion. So we rise up from the things that may have knocked our legs out from under us emotionally, psychologically, any abuse, any abandonment, any rejection, anything that caused a Taurian fault line in our psychological makeup. So Scorpio, to me, Scorpio and Aquarius astrologically are really dig in deeper, psychologically revealing signs to be able to really transform it psychologically at like a soul detective level is Scorpio. It's psychic surgery. Scorpio is like, let's get in there, be willing to look at it from this point in the timeline. For example, as Nicole and I are talking, at the full moon in Scorpio, that's lighting up any darkness that again attempts to resurface from the inner child theater, from the subconscious recording, from what was embedded at a cellular, psychological, emotional level that we keep very secretive, that we've tended to keep our tightly closed door on as far as it's personal, it's intimate, it was unfair, it was hurtful, but I've got to keep rising up and make my life better, and I have to fight getting bitter over the unfair things that may have occurred to me in my school years, with my family theater, with certain people that were supposed to be trusted figures in society or in my life. So Scorpio can have a lot to do also that people forget, and I don't see enough astrologers mention, about our point of origin story of when things first became vulnerable and intimate and sexual for us. And a lot of people, I'd venture to say, it's strictly an intuitive guess, I'd venture to say that at least in a 60% percentile of clients that I've worked with over 35 years, 40 years, their first actual intimate sexual touch was not necessarily permission granted. And so that first shock and awe, that first titillation, that's first like, oh, that I'm scared and that felt good. Oh, I want to run away. Why am I being held down? So whether something was force-fed onto you and you developed an eating disorder, or you developed, it's like Nicole's talking about, why is it? Scorpio's the time to look, why do I feel like I must manage and maintain at all costs in order for me to feel de-stressed and in control? Why do I feel like I've got to take control in some area of what you deem your values, the foundation of your being? And a lot of people, when you study the diagnostic manual of many of the anxiety-driven disorders, attention deficit, eating disorders, fear of being alone, the monster under the bed, somebody's in the closet. For a whole lot of people, there was a monster that came to the bed. There was the figure in the closet. And Scorpio has to do with the light versus the dark. It has to do with what haunts you, and all the way into the other side of that spectrum line that says, ooh, I want to go ghost hunting. I want to go to a graveyard. I want to get that electronic meter that when I go with a ghost hunting group, the paranormal group, I want to go to the haunted house. I want to go to the graveyard. I want to see if I get electromagnetic noises. And that whole high drama, let's go see why it's haunted, what kind of spirit is here. And as someone that sits here, having done metaphysics for 4 decades, and someone that sits here before you that has a stellium in Scorpio, 4 to 5 placements, dancing around, including the asteroids of Scorpio, I can tell you that although I got trained in professional exorcisms along the path in my 20s, as I got trained, quite by life kicking me in the ass, about what's demonic and what isn't, don't get tempted by that. Why are you getting lured by that? Look at the foundational reasons behind it. I say to people all the time, can you tell me why you want to go ghost hunting? Can you tell me why? What's your objective in using the Ouija board? What's your objective in going to the haunted house or the graveyard to disturb and go into the vortex and into the portal of those that have histories, earth histories, buried at that place, or angst or anguish or shock and awe or murder or disembodied earthbound spirits at that place? Tell me what your attraction to that is, and they'll tell me various reasons. Oh, I've never done. I want to do. I want to go to the graveyard, but there'll be other people there. And I say to them, okay, and if you are invading by choice, Nicole's talking about choices, and if you are invading and choosing to be titillated and fascinated by the dark forces, by the, let's go there, by the shadow forces or the evil intended, if you're thinking you're going to gain power and personal magnetism and sexual attractiveness by taking a walk on the dark side. I always say to clients or people when I'm lecturing at seminars and such, or I'll say to them, okay, if that's a fascination of yours, if that's a choice of yours, be aware that even though you're traveling to that city, going to that haunted house, entering that graveyard, what you're disturbing, what was there. You're curious. You're wanting to poke the tiger in the cage, and that spirit just might follow you home to make sure that you get the bang for your buck and your money's worth and the excitement. So one of the fun things about going to a carnival, if you just love roller coasters, or you love, haunted houses, as you get in the car, you get on it, you take the ride, you pay your money, and whee, and you scream and you get off it. Not so much. Not so much. If you decide out of strict innocence and curiosity to go into the dark side. So Scorpio is the hauntings, the demonic, it's alchemy. It's the alchemy of transformation. So whenever we have annually a Scorpio full moon, number one, we had a leap year this year. So Easter's earlier, Passover's later. We're going to have the sun goes into Taurus on April the 19th, and instead of the usual 21st, 22nd of April, we had a solar eclipse in the first sign of our Western zodiac of Aries. This is all about initiation, choices. Why? Scorpio says, we all have choices, we all have consequences. Choices equal consequences. Scorpio Taurus as an axis says, what's your motivation? What are you opting in for? What are you doing this willy-nilly? Are you giving this some kind of a spiritual, conscious, intentional thought? That why are you? Why is the moth attracted to the flame? Is it for warmth, or is it going to literally get burned up by the lure of the high heat or the flame of the actual fire? So Scorpio is the fires of our desires, and the phoenix that rises. We have the symbols of Scorpio, the scorpion, and in nature, when you study creature totems or you study animal medicine, you want to delve into what's different about that creature. Well, what's different between a scorpion insect and a firefly? What's different about a butterfly and a mosquito? So you want to look at how they survive, what they seek, and what's their destruction element, what's their enemy, what comes after them. So when you look at the scorpion, if the scorpion insect is in a battle, it uses its stinger more than its pinchers. And this is just true science, and if it seems to be losing the struggle with the other scorpion or whatever it's fighting with, same thing with the black widow spider, one of the 8-legged, lesser-known symbols of Scorpio, 8 legs, Scorpio, 8th sign. When the scorpion feels like it's actually going to lose in the battle, there's a very odd thing. The scorpion will sting itself. Scorpio energy in our chart, we sometimes will make the choice to take the wild card experience or walk on the wild side, and we seem to be okay with it, including the circumstances and the fallout, as long as we feel like we're making the decision. Now, let somebody push us financially, Taurus, or push us with sexual adventurousness, Scorpio, push us with out-of-the-box, unconventional risk or behaviors, Pluto and Aquarius energy, Uranus. Then we start to bow up and we start to do our levels of resistance. So remember first and foremost that Scorpio is the investigator of the soul. So Scorpio is wanting to open up for us in this full moon. How am I doing at my most internal psychological soul level? It's kind of beyond just astrology. Astrology is just the part of our toolbox where we open up and say, so how are my tools in my toolbox doing? Like, I have my Taurus hammer and my Cancerian wrench and my Sagittarius screwdriver, but how about the cleanliness of my tools? How about, do I need to add a tool? Am I missing a tool? Did I accidentally leave, a tool out in the rain? I thought I put it up and I didn't, and now it's rusty. Do I need to attend to that, clean it, upgrade it? So, and do I need the screws and the nails? So Scorpio's like a deep investigative inventory of how New Yorkers or Italians will go, how you doing? How you doing? So we're about to embark on an evolutionary emotional calibration under this full moon. And what I find interesting about what's different about the Scorpio full moon of 2024, besides the energy of Pluto squaring at it, going, hi, I'm the ruler of Scorpio. And no. There are no simple answers. There's concise answers, but this is your reality bite. This is your wake-up call. So the positive side of Scorpio is empowerment epiphanies, aha moments like, oh my God, I have done psychology, I've done therapy, I've done meditation, I've gone to ceremonial circles, and I never got that key piece of aha or enlightenment about looking at that one issue that has haunted me, Scorpio, and bugged me and seemed to have stayed with me and chased after me long past my childhood years. And here I sit in my 40s, and it still comes up from time to time, especially when I want to risk my vulnerability and let someone touch my naked body, let someone in emotionally, start to let my true, authentic psychological presence be known and shown and touched by another. So people mistakenly, I've noticed this over the decades, people mistakenly assume and project sexual, sensual expertise and curiosity, investigative type of frequencies and energies with the sign Scorpio. Every Taurus I've ever met, Scorpio's opposite sign, Scorpio's polarity balance sign I've ever met, tends to learn a lot about themselves through their personal, private, intimate escapades. Scorpios tend not to relax until they feel like they've got their financial foundation, security in place. I can't relax until I take care of me and mine. So when you look at opposite signs in astrology, what's the sign opposite of Scorpio? Taurus, the material world, my home, my foundation, why I put what I put inside my living space, why I have no animals or I like animals, why I have a certain dietary, food habits, food cravings, what are my comfort foods, how do I de-stress and relax, how do I take care of my skin and my hair. Libra, Taurus, ruled by Venus. It has a lot to do with self-care. Beauty appointments, whether you go for Botox or Restylane, or whether you go for red light laser, or whether you go for pedicures, exfoliation, castor oil, what are you doing as far as natural or medical, as far as your appearance, your allure? So what's alluring to you about another, and how do you feel confident within your own sensuality and your own biological earth temple, your body temple? What makes you feel attractive and alluring when you're wanting to seek out another biological being that appreciates you and is drawn to your specific attraction templates, beauty, intimacy, touch, and feel? So this full moon definitely stirs up intensity of passion, seductive rejection or openings. So I'm not saying it can't be like, that's it, I'm tired of the dating scene. Oh my God, I've got to work on my patterns, because whether it's male or female, whether it's my running buddies or my best BFFs, or, you know, there's the pattern of my dad again. And oh my God, there's my critical mother, and it's a guy that I'm dating. How am I, what are my pheromones psychically that's drawing me to dating people that I absolutely am doing my meditations, I'm doing my prayers. So Scorpio is really good for shadow work on being able to clarify, let go, as Nicole said, and release those psychic cords and those emotional, psychological knots. This is that moon to go outside, light your sage wand, put your frankincense or helichrysum oil on your third eye, go out under the stars, look for 12 Pons Brooks comet, around the skies. You know, they said it would start to be more exact if you've got clear skies around the 21st to the 23rd. Didn't even need binoculars. This is a time for you to go out and receive the medicine of the stars and understand that the difference between a new moon and a full moons are intensely charged emotional activators, but their purpose is to be able to put more light and to illuminate any formerly hidden, resisted, abandoned, denial aspects of our personality, that little kid in us that goes, I don't want to. I don't want to face that right now. I don't want to deal with it. I know I owe that money. I know that person hurt my feelings. I know I really don't want to be around that family member or that relative. I don't want to. I just want to go play video games. I want to play music. I just want to go to sleep. I just want to go have a cocktail. I don't want to deal with them right now because they irritate me. They trigger me. I don't want to do it right now. And so the Mercury retrograde and Mars flipping into its power sign of Aries, the eclipse sign, and it's going to be there for 6 weeks on April 30th. And Venus is going to come home to her home sign, one of her softer, sweeter signs of Taurus, around that same time, 29th, 30th of April, 1st of May. So we're going to have Mars in his power sign, and we're going to have Venus in her power sign of Taurus. This full moon in Scorpio and Pluto in Aquarius is touching on the conjunction, as Nicole mentioned, of April 20th, 21st, of once in 84 years. It's been not since 1941 that Jupiter and Uranus came together in the sign of Taurus. They conjunct every 14 years, but the last time they came together in the Earth-fixed sign of Taurus, the economy, food security, banks, stocks, financial issues. It don't matter what damn zodiac sign you are, you got some financial stuff going on, okay? That's just the way it is. It can be any zodiac sign, and you're looking at points of inflation, rent increases, what food is costing at the store, why the processing plants are burning, what's going on with killing the chickens and the cows, and all that stuff since Uranus first went into Taurus. So we're dealing with the pendulum swinging back the other way. The farmers are revolting all over Europe and Australia. They're coming up against the governmental oligarchs. So people are starting to say, hey, you're not going to tell me to eat bugs while you're eating meat. You're not going to tell me that the best diet I could be on is keto and do this or that when you're deciding that you're going to be eating meat to help balance your hormones and keep your iron levels up. And you're not going to tell me to stay indoors when my natural vitamin D, instead of me buying a supplement of D3, which resets my hormones, you're not going to tell me that I can't go outside when the sun is brightly shining and get my 15 minutes of the best vitamin D that I can ever get through my third eye, through my eyes. Take the sunglasses off, close your eyes, face the sun, and allow your body to be recalibrated by the great star of our Milky Way. So we, the people, Aquarius, are beginning to revolt, Taurus, and say, you know what, I'm going to go into my intuitive antenna, and I'm going to allow the ascension alchemy. And that's the phoenix that rises. So there's the scorpion, there's the snake, there's the eagle, there's the phoenix that's assigned with Scorpio, and it's about how do we both burn it and let it go and see the holy smoke, sage it, incense it, light the fire of our desires and say, I am burning the past embers. I'm burning. I'm writing down my fears on a piece of paper and I'm throwing it into the fire, and I'm watching the smoke rise and I'm letting it go up to the point of invisibility at my ceremonial fire, my alchemical fire, my medicine fire. I'm letting it go up. Even if I'm sitting in a campfire or a kiva, I'm writing on a piece of paper, totally biodegradable. I'm handwriting in a pen or pencil. I'm putting it on a note card or a piece of notebook paper. It's not on my technological gadget of my notepad or my laptop or my cell phone. I'm taking it consciously and subconsciously. I'm writing it down. I'm burning it. And if you do it at home and you have a few ashes, have some water available. This is a water full moon. And then as the water puts out the little ashes of the paper, of all the fears that you privately, Scorpio's the sign of secrets, wrote down, that is alchemy. You transformed it from what you wrote down, what you want to release. You burned it in your burning bowl. You added some water on it. And then this is planting season of the Northern Hemisphere. So you go buy yourself some bulbs, some flower bulbs, your favorite. I bought a wonderful lavender plant the other day that when I went to the big box store and saw the lavender, bees and butterflies were all over it. Like you literally had to pick it up and have a conversation with the honeybees because they were like, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you for buzzing this plant. Look, there's about 20 of them left. I'm going to take this one home and let the bees in my vortex and the butterflies come to this and the hummers. So I literally saw the earth magic in motion inside the plant area of this big box store. And so that was the only one that I saw them around. There was this, there was that, there's geraniums, there's gladiolus, there's all kinds of herbs, all kinds of tomato plants, but the bees, the winged creatures were sent right up in here, this one right here, with this lavender color right here. The blooms were just coming out, and I said, Spirit has spoken. That's my visual oracle card manifested. I don't always buy lavender every year. That one wants to come home with me. That's a culinary spice. That's a calming herb. I'm going to bring it home, and I'm going to bless my home vortex with that. And it was a big $5. So you tithe and you spend your hard-earned money, but you brought it home, and I can use it when I'm making lemon cake or lemon cookies. You can do lavender, very little, takes very little. I know it doesn't taste like flowers when you do it the right way, and I can plant it outside to give back to my Mother Earth. We're coming up on Earth Day. We're coming up on the point of where the eclipse, I was taught astrologically by English and Middle Eastern astrologers in my youth that you always look at 40 days, about 40 days from point of eclipse. And the 40 days, I've counted out, I always do, that you watch what is the theme that's wanting to take root in your life will be May 18th of 2024. That's 40 days after that 480 eclipse in Aries, the initiation. So we got initiated by the seeds of the new moon on April the 8th, and on May 18th, eve of the 17th, 19th. Look at those 3 days, May 17th, 18th, 19th, and see who's calling you, who's getting in touch, what are you breaking the ties with, what are you bidding farewell to, what are you closing a door on that can open up brighter, stronger doors of becoming. And then by May 25th and 26th, Mars will arrive at the eclipse point. And I wanted to give you these dates before Nicole and I go any further, because this is the alchemy of astrology. Astrology is repetitive degrees, crunching numbers, and the cycles folding in on each other. And there's different planets, and we tend to go by the sun because that's our great star, and solar's kind of predictable. But all the other planets are orbiting and evolving and retrograding and going at various rates and speeds. But right now, if you take it into beginning and intermediate astrology, so you can disregard all this technical information, you can write down, so Mary and Nicole think I need to kind of look at my dominant overarching moods and feelings and desires and initiations around May 18th, and who am I around and what's going on when the ruler of the eclipse, Mars, and its own power sign, hasn't been there for 2 years, in Aries, is going to trigger and conjoin or align with the actual eclipse degree point over the 25th and 26th of May. And that is huge medicine. That's huge star medicine. And it gives you an advantage over any kind of typical YouTube, textbook, astrology, where if you cut to the chase, you don't have to study all those different angles and degrees and this or that. You just find the Aries point because of the new moon eclipse, and you find this full moon point because we've got planets out there dancing with this Scorpio moon, like the Pisces factor of Saturn and Neptune. They're favorable to this Scorpio moon. Why? They're in the element of water, and Pisces is our most spiritual self, and it's also the part of us that withdraws and avoids and seeks escapism through addiction, substances, or bed. I don't want to go out today. I don't like people. It's too people-y out there. I just need to avoid this. I don't want to deal with this. Pisces and Libra can be the areas of our chart and the signs that want to avoid it for as long as possible and sincerely hope it just goes and takes care of itself and we don't have to actually confront it. Well, that's not where we've got the planets right now. Aries, the eclipse is saying, yo, it's me, and this is what's up. What do you need? What do you think's going to happen? What was our commitment? What's the win-win? What did you agree to do with this rental agreement? What did you agree to do on this job? What did you agree to take on in this relationship? And if you're not doing it, I'm going to be in your face. That's Aries. Aries is going to be like, don't tell me what you're not going to do. Because when we got together and we made a deal and we invested our energies, our emotions, our sexuality, and our money, this is how you represented yourself. This is what you said you would bring to the table. And if you think that you're going to act nice rather than really be a good person, I got some comeuppance for you. And I'm happy to hold hands with karma. Happy. That's Scorpio. Scorpio will eradicate your ass if you act, keyword act, authentic and sincere, and then you think that you're going to become a player. That won't work with Scorpio Aquarius stuff. They will guillotine your ass one way or the other.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because when we think about like Pluto is the destroyer, right? And
Yep.
one of the things that I think the audience needs to keep in mind during this full moon is to keep yourself in check,
Yep.
because what are you like, really observe what is being destroyed, so that something new can be built. However, because Pluto is square this moon, and this is a highly intensely emotional moon, we can be emotionally reactive. Do have enough awareness to be the observer and see, are you destroying an old foundation that was shaky and not supportive to your future goals or even potentially your evolving self worth? Or are you destroying a potential opportunity that could help you build a new foundation? And I say that because Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. And
Yes.
Mars, as we see, that Mars is actually is having a conversation with Uranus and Jupiter, during, like, coming up with a really nice sextile here. And
Yep.
so Mars is determined. Mars is inspired. Mars wants to take action. And Mars is determined to find that path that's going to break you free from the old ways and put you on a direction towards a new and changed, transformed life. But you have to be aware of your shortcomings. You have to be aware of self sabotaging behaviors. And so, around this full moon, especially when that moon comes back around to Pluto a week later, there are going to likely be, for many of you, some kind of door opening opportunities that Jupiter and Uranus are creating for you during this full moon, that Mars might be like, you know what? This is what I've been looking for. This is what I need. This is how I reinvent, myself, my path, my life. This is truly a full moon that is screaming change and breakthroughs from the old conventional structures. And on top of all of this energy, we have Black Moon Lilith in a very
Mm.
harmonious trine to Jupiter and Uranus in
Yep.
Taurus. And she wants to break free of the status quo. And that status quo is whatever you've been really familiar and comfortable with, where you've been lingering maybe a little too long. She wants you to liberate your passions, Scorpio energy, from being repressed. She wants you to awaken what has been dormant within you. And she wants you to stand up for yourself and take
Mm-hmm.
what's yours, because whenever Pluto is having this kind of dynamic with the moon and the sun, there's likely some kind of power struggle going on. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, to your point about Lilith, the dark side of the moon, first off, I want to tell the audience, when Nicole's talking about 1 week from now, when the moon gets back to where Pluto is in Aquarius, just kind of write down May 1st, May 2nd, when the moon will do its 2.5 days in the sign of Aquarius. That's one of the seed points of how well you're doing with what needs to be confronted, and or how you need to either gently or to forcefully slam a door of
Mm-hmm.
what, who, where just isn't serving its higher purpose for you anymore. And without blaming that person, place, or thing, use that Aquarian energy of just saying, you know what, I don't need to be bitter. I don't need to say that I'm leaving this or them or that or moving on because they failed me. Why does it always have to be because something was a bitter pill? Instead, I'm just going to be like, it is what it is, and I'm done. I just need to be detached, and I need to realize what once was incredibly effective and empowering for me. It's like when we start school, that's not an evil thing. When we graduated from the 8th grade, we go to the 9th grade. So it's not like there's pluses and minuses all along in the journey of lessons that we get entwined with people or things or desires or things that disgust us. But if we didn't have those experiences and dipping our toe in the water of it, adventurous experimenting, then we wouldn't know. We would, it can catch us off. Another pause and hesitancy in our life is to be left with regret or wondering, I wonder how it would have been if I told that person what I felt for them. I wonder how it might have turned out different. I hear it all the time. I wonder how things might have turned out differently if I stood up for myself on that job earlier than I did, or I faced my financial fears and just went ahead and bit the bullet and said, you know what? I want to do the right thing, and I want to put butter on my bread and feed my family, but I don't feel like this is my only option in life in order to provide for myself or other people. So it's our own hesitancy, it's our own insecurity, and that's really strong in the Taurus Cancer houses and areas of our chart, of where we somehow convince ourselves that the predictable and the stoic and the reliable, I do this 8 to 5 every day. I go to bed, I take a shower, I eat, I sleep, I get up, and I do it all the same way again from 8 to 5 or midnight to 7 in the morning. It's my shift. It's the area of my life as crazy as it gets, because that's what Taurus wants, as crazy and as out of the box as things can get. This is my reliable part of my life. This is what substantiates, gives me a schedule, gives me some type of congruency and reliability in my life, and how we take a shower, why we pick the products that we do, whether we take care of our skin or not. And I would say that you get a pretty good picture of how you're doing at full moons with how your digestion is, are you getting acid reflux in your throat? Well, yeah, that didn't start in your throat. That didn't start in the Taurus area. If you've got GERD or you've got acid reflux, that's a digestive indigestion problem. First and foremost, it's a buildup of acid, and it's coming from the tummy, from the digestive area. If you have bouts of constipation or intermittent diarrhea, that's Scorpio stuff. It's like, how are you dealing with the built-up crap in your world? How much shit are you taking in from other people? Are you allowing people that you've already decided quietly and secretly within yourself, oh my God, don't know how I got here yet, don't even have the time to process it, but oh my God, I'm in a narcissistic, toxic, intimate relationship, or oh my God, I watched a YouTube by a psychologist and a psychiatrist on narcissistic mothers or unavailable dads, and I just got myself out of the spider web of confusion of why I draw unavailable men, or why I draw women that are envious of me all the time and want what I have and act nice to me in order to get close to me so they can get around my connections and my contacts, and they act like they want to be a behind-the-scenes backup, but they literally are just trying to push me out of a spotlight because they see that I worked hard and I put boots on the ground and I put the dedicated hours and study and stuff into my craft, my skill sets, and then they want to come in going, ooh, let me just infect her and beguile and bewitch him or her, and then I'll just go ahead and infect that work environment or that career environment, and I'll just be the one that all the groupies want to go with, because half the audience is sincere, and the other half of the audience, no matter what you do for a living, if you rock star it, they're going to want to be there just because they got to meet you, and you do what you do, and they want to be groupies, and they want to be applauded, and they want to give you applause to make you feel good, just so they cannot face their own issues themselves, be it a preacher, be it a rabbi, be it a big evangelistic a gathering, or some kind of other work CEO at the level. They get into power, and then they become the bully. Remember, Taurus can be the bull. So you also, during Taurus season, which starts this year on April 19th, look at, are you bullying yourself? Are you bullying somebody else? Are you the one that's the strongest line of resistance? And what? Start with asking yourself why. In your mind and your heart and in your intuition, you know you're seeking a change. You may not know all the specifics of what the change will be, but you know that what you've been allowing isn't working at optimal levels for you. So just at least take the psychological component of that and say, what is it within me, without judging yourself, what is it within me that tends to think that the lesser path of confrontation or the least path of resistance, even though I don't know what's out there in my immediate future, even though I don't have a guarantee of what would happen, why do I think the crap that I'm putting up with And the abuse that I'm taking verbally, psychologically, physically, I hope not, emotionally, why am I continuing to allow toxic parents, abusive kids, toxic, bullying, narcissistic, sociopathic relationships at work, in my personal life? When did I decide that's all I deserved? Taurus is also about looking at, are you ever going to get to dessert? Or do you only get the breadcrumbs? Do you only get the appetizer? Taurus is about emotional security. And so if you're the type of personality that's just going to all of a sudden walk out and go to the abused women's shelter and take the kids, or just you need to just escape and never look back, and if you have to involve law enforcement, you do. If you have to get a restraining order, you do, because that bully or that toxic parent or that toxic person is going to try to get that carrot over your head as far as, you can't leave, you need me financially, you'll put up with my crap because you don't have the ways and means to get out and get your own apartment or to move somewhere else. So Taurus and Scorpio is about, am I the bully? Am I not believing in my own faith, fuels, and options? And when did I decide, when did I get so bullied and so beaten down that I decided that I owe my abusive parent that rejected me and never really loved me, and I was always cast aside, and I was that black sheep? But when did they decide I owe taking care of them in their older age? Because they were never there for me, but once again, I'm getting abused emotionally, and all the other siblings, that's right, you take care of it, we're not doing it. And I see it go on all the time. So when did you decide that all your worth is being ordered and abused and left out and rejected, and you just get the scraps off the dinner plates and you never get to sit down and have a meal served to you? Or you're always the server, you're the cook, you're the cleaning person, you're this or that. Now, if you're loving that part of your life, when I cook for somebody, I absolutely love it. I know it's a feast, but I've made the decision. Those people deserve my time. Those people deserve my hillbilly and my Italian culinary skills, and I'm going to light them up if I bother to cook something homemade. And they're going to go, holy mother of God, that pie. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But I don't just do that willy-nilly. And so the minus side of Taurus is that or Libra, is that you've got to get out there and you've got to be the empathic sponge and the people pleaser. And I've got to make sure that everybody thinks I'm just the best thing since sliced bread, because I show up with a little gift for everybody, and I show up at the lecture, and I show up at the seminar, but really you're not giving the little hostess gift with no strings attached. You're wanting to get some attention. You're going, oh, that's so nice, and I'm so glad you are in the audience of my television and my radio. I'm so glad that you come here, and you're working your ass off, and all you really want is recognition. But why not just sit in the back row and listen to the seminar teacher, or listen to and get involved with the meditation, thinking that you don't always have to open the door with a gift in your hand to get the attention on you? And the opposite of that, Nicole, is when people play the perpetual victim. Oh, I know, I've had such a troubled life, and oh my God, I have a villain in my life. And so of the three V words, the Phoenix, Scorpio, and the strength and the consistency of a cow's peacefulness or a bull's ability to protect the pasture, and let's face it, in a lot of ways, be what people want to see on their plate when they go to a steakhouse. So the bull continues to give, doesn't it? Not in India, where they're revered as sacred.
Yeah.
So the meat and potatoes of this whole full moon is, why is it that you go all the way around the bush instead of confronting what really needs to be confronted? And it might be simply the start point, the 0 point might simply be, I need to admit to myself, and I need to look at myself first. I need to look in the mirror. Why, if I'm not happy, am I continuing to stay in a situation that I've tried various different things? And a lot of victims don't. They're stuck. They keep complaining, and they keep whining. And I look at them, and I'm like, okay, I'm not the psychic for you. I'm not going to read for you because I need to call you a whambulance right now. Wah, 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 whine, whine, whine. No, I'm not going to keep taking your money. And for me, with integrity, to see that I'm not the one that's helping you do your spiritual work and you accomplish your spiritual epiphanies and rise up. That's when I know I'm a success, not just taking your money.
Yeah.
So it's about that. What currency, your most vital currency, your most valuable currency, because that's Taurus, isn't your digital assets, isn't the money you've got in the bank or the stocks or anything. how are you feeling at this timeline in your life with what you deem valuable. So Taurus is about doing your top 10 list of what you deem valuable, worthy. Make sure you put self-worth on there. Do you have good self-worth? And if not, why? And if you're wanting to blame your parents or your lover or your kids, why are you allowing that to go on? So the responsibility has to come back to self. And I would say the 4 signs mainly triggered, whether it's eclipse, well, the top 3, of course, are Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio, because it's triggering the 4 fixed signs. I'm not saying Leo's out of it, but the 4 fixed signs are, Pluto's at square, that's Aquarius. You've got the Taurian planets, and you've got the Scorpio full moon and the sun shifting in, and shifted in on the 19th of Taurus. So it's about values. It's about self-resurrection. This is the cycle. This is the full moon, and for that 30 days between this full moon in Scorpio of April, some of you felt it on the 21st, April 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Those of you especially born in the early days of Taurus and the early days of Scorpio, this is an epiphany time. And sometimes, as Nicole was pointing out, when we are about to go through, when fate and destiny hug you and say, you've tried, we know you've tried, but now the great cosmic divine source, the Almighty I Am, is going to implement some changes of fate in your life because you're really a sincere, good soul, and the dark force has gotten too many things around you. We're gonna help you. We're going to put some life changes because you seem to have a struggle with allowing the change. So maybe those circumstances where you get fired, or all of a sudden, and they had to downsize, and you think it's just somebody picking on you. If you look, it amazes me, Nicole, when I've had clients that were really in a toxic marriage or relationship, or they had an abusive child or an abusive parent, and that person passes away, and all you hear, he was a good man. That was such a lovely child. Oh my God, my mother was so strong, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to say anything, but for the 20 years you came to me as a client, all you did was bitch about the abuse you took. So, okay, pack it up the way you want to, but why don't you try to come out of denial? They're not, and it's amazing to me how even though that toxic parent or lover or abusive person actually, they get away from, or they pass away or whatever, and then they're still haunted by them. Like they're bringing that packed suitcase of that one abusive relationship, and when they sit down with another potential love interest or another person they can date, if they've not done that shadow work, if they've not cleansed through therapists and professional people like us that know how to help you do that, but you're going to have to do the work. If you've not undone those knots and you've not gotten those psychic cords out of the way, you will attract another man or another woman or another scenario, just like those same issues and patterns with work, in your running buddies, in your intimate life, and all you did was change the biological looking physical costume, and same shit, different day.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's time to make some changes. Changes are coming, and if you don't like them, or meaning you don't want to change, well, you're in for a little bit of a rude awakening. So embrace it, and find a way to see the blessing in what may feel like, again, life's just coming down on you. Because really things are opening up. This is about taking out the old foundations, the things that you're building something new here. It's completely revolutionary from anything that you've ever known it to be or yourself to be. And it's long overdue. It's long overdue. It's something that I think has been lurking in the shadows. And now it's kind of a bit of a reckoning in many, but I do feel like it's going to be really good for most people in the long run. It's not something that you should be really scared of. It's really something you should want to embrace. And I think you'll have an easier transition time if you do that. That being said, can we transition into all signs?
Yeah. And like what Nicole's saying, if you could just be really incredibly honest with yourself, the areas of your life, and I'll say this before we go into the signs, look back at the last couple of eclipse points where the North Node, the dragon's head, was in Aries. And so if you look back to that latter part of 2003, the entire year of 2004, and the changes that manifested in the year of 2005, before that, if you look at 1995, those of you that were already on the planet and born, it's kind of nice in the toolbox of astrology, the celestial mechanics of things, to kind of look back. Of course, there were other planets positioned in other signs. No, it is not exactly the same. But when it comes to the North Node, it has a lot to do that we're still dealing with it primarily being in Aries right now. It is initiations. It is change. It is starting new things for the sake of stirring up the pot. Like if you've never cooked with cayenne pepper and you decide that, oh, I'm over 40 and I'm reading that's really beneficial for circulation, and I don't want varicose veins, and I don't want to have clogged arteries, and I'd like to do it in an inexpensive and medicinal holistic way. So all I need to do is go buy some cayenne pepper powder, and maybe I'll mix a half a teaspoon into my salad dressing. I'll put a tablespoon into the soup that I'm making. I'll put a little bit in my meatloaf or whatever it is you're making, and just start introducing it into your body, because the function of cayenne pepper, one of Aries' spices, and we had that initiating eclipse of Aries that is tied to October of this year, when we'll have a solar eclipse in its balanced sign of Libra. That's what's saying to us, how are things circulating in your life? Do you feel like things are dammed up or blocked or flowing freely? So Aries is all about starting things up. It's the creative inner child in you, and that's the eclipse that we had. And Mercury went retrograde on April 1st in Aries, and it's going to go direct at the eclipse point on the 25th. And then we're going to see other shifts. So a lot of the planets at the point of eclipse were within 60 degrees of each other, the stuff in Pisces, the stuff in Taurus, and the stuff in Aries. So what it's saying to us is this is a time, think about when a child decides to be in a Protestant church or Orthodox Catholic church, and they want to be an altar boy, or they want to light the candles for prayers that all the audience comes in, the congregation comes in, and the altar boys or the little children have ushered in the frankincense and they've lit the candles, and then there's a time in the service or the mass where people can come up and whisper prayers, or the people that go and stick their little handwritten prayers in the Wailing Wall over in Jerusalem. These rituals. The Scorpio and the Taurus is what kind of heavenly connection, or inviting and receiving, inviting, summoning, and then receiving and allowing the supernatural divine forces of light. How it's like we're let's put it in another term. It's like we're getting an oil change. Like you take your car in for an oil change. You've got a lot of mileage built up right now, and this eclipse in Aries and these placements as we go through the signs, it's saying to you, in some area of your life, the area of the vehicle motion in your life will be the houses that I talk about. Like, for Scorpio, it's a first house full moon, So the house, the kind of specific themes that I'm about to tell you is where there needs to be a mechanical tune-up and an oil change. So for me, my guides told me with all my Scorpio that as I approached the eclipse and I wanted to do my ceremonies, and the Scorpio full moon and the Pisces full moon happened to be my favorites normally, because the Buddha moon, the Wesak, the great Hindu Buddhist festival of not allowing yourself to be attached to the material world, Taurus, not be attached to the material world. Usually it's the Taurus sun, Scorpio moon, full moon, but this year, it's all about the full moon is always involved with the May full moon with the festival of W-E-S-A-K, and some cultures spell it with V as in victory, Z-E-S as in sweet or soul, A-K as in kind. Vesak or Wesak is the festival of honoring the Buddha's birth, the Buddha's death, the Buddha's ascension. So in Buddhism, this is about the 8 principles of non-attachment, the Buddhist principles. So in other parts of the world, the next full moon, when Nicole and I talk to you, will be what's considered the Buddha moon or the Wesak festival, where we are releasing how earthly material things try to tie us down and help us get distracted by our own choice, of the fact that we are spirit, we came from spirit, we slipped on skin, and we walk this realm, this third dimensional earthly realm, but for a while, and we return home as with spirit. So the Scorpio full moon is going to remind you through your dreams, through your meditations, and hopefully not just through your most private fears, that you are a multidimensional, biochemical, electromagnetic prism, soul vehicle, Merkaba, body of light, body of power. So with that said, before we go into the signs, with that said, don't settle for less and don't play yourself as less powerful than what you already are. And if it's scripture, if it's meditation, if it's outside fire ceremonies, if it's water, if it's baths, if it's cleansing rituals, the full moon in Scorpio is a great time. I go out with either purified reverse osmosis water and light my candle under the Scorpio exact moon, which I will, as it's happening in Scorpio tonight, and I bless the water, or I bless the elderflower liqueur, or my chambord. We talked about that last year, the chambord, the beautiful maroon colors of Scorpio, and I hold it for 8 minutes, infinity symbol, number 8. I don't touch it, I pour it, and I go out, and the entire time I'm giving thanks for my life and inviting in my higher holy alchemical guides and allowing pleasure and prosperity and the harmony in the midst of any known and any unknown changes that I must embrace. I allow and I invite the almighty I am forces, the divine source, my sacred guardian angels, the archangels. I allow them to direct and take control of all my doors that are opening and all the doors that need to close. At the Scorpio Epiphany Empowerment Releasing Moon, I show up and I, by my own God-gifted free will, call in the Holy Ghost, Great Mystery, Great Spirit, take the wheel. Thank you for me finally advancing to a point in my consciousness when I realize I never walk alone. I always have the ability of the divine transmutational forces to be my guide, to be my lover, to be my mystic marriage. And so I don't throw all my power into any human, mortal creature on the planet at the same time. Our biological mother is Mother Earth. And I also, on Earth Day, I honor her. I plant something, I feed strays or whatever I have to do. I honor and give back from my Indigenous First Nations teachings. I buy a plant, give a plant to somebody, packets of seeds if you're on a budget, but I make sure that I do acts of service and random acts of kindness involving seeds of change. So you can buy little packet seeds of herbs. I mean, the Dollar Tree has them for 50 cents still, and you can go give someone a thank you card or a little pack of seeds as you meet them for lunch or cocktail hour. Hey, I bought you some basil. You'll love it with your tomatoes. Or I bought you a tomato plant. You know, food security, Taurus. So give somebody something that's actually oregano or rosemary or something that they can actually grow at home in a window box if you're in an apartment or whatever, and it actually can be an alchemical thing that you actually consume it and you bless the plant, a bag of lemons, whatever it is. Our gift-giving changes when we go into mystical and even economic cycles of inflation. You start giving things that are homemade, food. You start giving plants. You start giving fruit baskets. You start giving someone a grocery store gift card instead of a bouquet of $100 flowers. That's Taurus. So you can lighten up somebody's day and birthday and wedding anniversary, and you can put the corners of their mouth up. If you come in with that little happy, that random act of kindness that involves, here's a $50 gift card at your grocery store or Walmart or whatever you want to do. Here, go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy yourself some plants this year, or potatoes or pumpkins or whatever you want to grow. Don't tell me that's not going to bless you 1,000-fold karmically, because you literally gave somebody biological gifts of food or joy if it's flowers. And whatever they do with it, it's their business, but you brought them seeds and life. That's what you brought them. So we're going to start with Scorpio because the full moon is in Scorpio. And happy birthday, Taurus. With this full moon being highlighting up at the 18th degree, we've got 1 and 8. It's an 8 year, and we've got a 9 vibration. So when you look in the tarot, you've got the Hermit card. When you look at Scorpio's card, You've got the death card, so it's death, letting go, resurrection. And when you look at the water suit in the tarot, you're dealing with the suit of cups, aka the suit of hearts. And so when we look at this full moon, you're starting to look at, am I the king of cups or the king of hearts or the queen of cups? Am I taking my personal sovereignty of the thine own self be true, or I'm still just a newsmaker interested in learning, the knight or the page? Or do I feel like I'm more the court cards? You know, do I feel like that it's happening in April, so I'm looking at the Four of Cups and looking at what I'm dissatisfied with, and it's happening on the 23rd, and so I look at the 5, and I look at the Five of Cups, and it's time to really start to be a viable part of conscious change and evolvement, or the changes are going to start flying at me fast and furious, rapid fire, and whether I like it or not, now the changes might be more discordant or disruptive or shocking. You got Uranus involved, so it can be shocking as well. And although it looks like it might be a loss, it certainly with Jupiter in Taurus will end up being prosperity. So full moons and fixed signs, especially Scorpio, bring up psychological treasures. So we're on a treasure hunt right now, and Scorpio is saying there's a hidden mystery, there's a hidden magic, and there's the promise of revelation as you come upon the treasure. So just the fact that it's a full moon in Scorpio, if you're a Scorpio, this is, you know that you've got to dive deep and you've got to allow yourself to look at what tends to be the tether around your ankle, the leash around your neck. Where do you feel like you, Scorpio, are allowing yourself to be bound, where you are allowing yourself not to be heard, your needs, your wants not to be respected? Now let's go on the minus side of Scorpio. So Scorpio, where are you psychologically bullying someone through sarcasm or criticism or indicating and intimating that you might actually leave that job or leave this relationship, especially if you're the breadwinner, and causing a haunting or fear or insecurity around someone that you made a commitment with? Are you the one cheating on them, Scorpio? Are you the one having intimate diversions, and that person may not have caught you in being unfaithful to them, but they're sensing it in their soul? We all sense it in our soul when someone's troubled with us or done with us or bored with us, even if we're assuming that, and then we end up saying, oh my God, I didn't want to face it, but it's true. And so we hire the private detectives, or we stalk them, or we find them, and then it's like we want to blame them. But how about the fact that you just would sit down with someone and say, I don't want to push an agenda here, but I'd kind of like both of us to have a turn to talk about how we're doing. I'd like to know if there are areas in our private life and our intimate life that we could discuss or that maybe I can improve upon. And I'd also like to vent my frustrations and my fears. If you think I've been ignoring you, if I've not seemed to be in the mood as much, Scorpio is also about sexuality, it's kind of because I was embarrassed that I had gas, or I've had a hemorrhoid, or I've had, sensitivity in my breast, or I felt like I gained weight or lost too much weight, or I felt like I would be putting more pressure on you because you've had to work extra hours. Don't assume in your intimate life. Go ahead and just take that current partner's hands and say, I've been kind of afraid and embarrassed and insecure about, you may think I'm pulling away from you, but I kind of had some issues going on. So, go ahead and say, I've been insecure about myself, if you don't want to give them the details, and it's not you, because they're assuming it's them. They're assuming you're not attracted to them anymore, because people just do that. They don't want to touch me. It must be my hair. It must be my wrinkles. I need more Botox. I need to lose weight. I need to gain weight. I need to wear the sexy underwear again instead of just the ones I'm comfortable with. That stuff goes on with the Scorpio full moon. So for Scorpio right now, it's like the spotlight's on you. And so of all 12 signs, Scorpio, it's about how you doing with your own self. And you Scorpios, oh, how well I know, you keep that stuff like a little ticking time bomb, a little landmine that soldiers got to figure out in Afghanistan, Iraq, or whatever. There's like this tick, 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 tick. And the Scorpio in a partnership kind of assumes that if they're pulling back, the partner ought to at least come to them and say, what's up? But you Scorpios, because you're the one that's got the deeper psychological excoriation ability, you need to also say, I've been out of sorts. I feel like you're pulling away from me, so you need to do that. Don't blame them. But say, I'm not pulling away from you. What the hell's wrong with you? Don't get in a tit for tat. That's Aries. That's that ego, childish stuff. Instead, no matter what your sign is, you have Scorpio somewhere in your chart. Address your intimate levels of security, what they do that makes you feel good. I love that you work so hard and pay all the bills. It makes me want to embrace you. Or, I've been really stressed out about paying the bills. I'm not blaming you. I just want you to know it's not you. I'm just tired right now. Because everybody's very fragile since 2020. They're fragile with how they got divided, how they got a thumbprint put on their neck to stay home, don't go out, don't do this. We're still recovering from that 4 years later. And now we're thinking about, oh, they're talking about World War III, and they're talking about over here and over there, and, you know, FDIC may try to do this with your withdrawals of your bank. They're calling it bailing in. So that's Taurus-y stuff, like what's going on with our borders, what's going on with our food. So the Scorpio-Taurus thing for any sign that's out there has to do with how safe do I feel at home? Do I still want rental property, Taurus, real estate, and are there squatters or are there criminal areas that it seems crime? The negative side of crime can really be Scorpio, and the cray-cray crime, out-of-the-box, crazy Walking Dead zombies can be the bad side of Aquarius. So we're not trying to put our head in the sand, but you also right now with the Scorpio full moon, let that full moon light up in your world what you know is okay and what you're feeling could be a little sideways, and you better trust your gut instinct, and you better be very aware when you're out in public or around a lot of crowds, because there's a shift of energy that's going on between dark and light right now. So don't second guess your first gut level intuitive instinct. If it's going, I know I came out to go to the store, that set of people looks creepy, I'm going to leave this store and I'm going to go over that grocery store because I just got a red light kind of feeling with my psychic ability, with my children, with my spouse, I'm by myself. Don't second guess that and go, oh, what are you talking about? And get out of the car and go in. If it feels weird, it goes back to if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it clucks like a duck, it's a duck. So I'm telling you, Scorpio is very intense psychically. Your dreams, your intuitions, and your crime level intuition is spot on right now. So don't put yourself in a place of danger or misery. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. So for Taurus, it's about the sun's in Taurus. You're in your solar return. It's your birthday cycle. But the players of Venus going into Taurus is going to get softer for you, Taurus. But I also feel like with the 11th house being triggered, with the Pisces stuff, that's soft for Taurus. You're finding your own place socially and in your friendship intellectual world. And I feel like there's a leveling up for Taurus about the quality of the conversations you have, the quality of where you meet up, the social choices that you make, the environmental options. It might be that normally people have venues in conference rooms and motel rooms and church rooms, and they go do their lectures at different resorts and things like that. But I'm feeling going into July that Taurus might want to do things out in nature, that they may start to involve people in the richness of Mother Nature, like there might be a sunset into twilight 2-hour gathering to where people get to have that palatable feeling of they hear the owls or they see the butterflies or, you know, the crows are returning to their nest or the ravens are squawking. I feel like Taurus teachers and field trips and outdoor regeneration is going to be very strong as far as what Taurus will accept as far as a lunch date or a conference or a teaching or some type of a healing dynamic gathering that you want to go to. So it may be that the Taurus needs the outdoor regeneration. It may be that the savvy Taurus is going to do more things outdoors. But I feel like that Mother Nature right now, it's the seeding time in the Northern Hemisphere. And the middle sign of spring, the signs of spring are Aries, Taurus, Gemini. And so Taurus is that April-May dynamic of, like, most of the time, besides transitional storms, thunderstorms and rains and things like that, because we're going from cold to hotter, most of the time with Taurus, it's that emerging seed. You know, it's emerging. It's hidden under the earth. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. The plant is sprouting anew from the seed. So for you, Taurus, you're sprouting. The seed is broken ground in the hidden underneath foundational levels of Mother Earth, and you're pushing through that soil in search of new light, in search of what? Life-giving sunlight. So the plant returns a new blanket of greenery to the wrinkled face of Mother Earth. So you're coming into a wisdom, and it's numerous returns. It's cyclic. It's a cycle of springing forth. So it's like leaving a large party. You can return home alone. So you leave a gathering and you return home alone, but how you were affected energetically, you know, how you had a new direction instead of the misdirections that caused some regrets. Spring and the renewal and the unfurling of the leaves and the greening of nature and the unfurling of, like, here comes the leaves and the blossom's going to come forth. Today I noticed my roses are getting ready to explode. My mountain roses, I mean, I'm probably like a day away from my roses exploding out, the heirloom roses. So it's recovery for Taurus. It's recovery. I feel like that Taurus is able to look at the fruits of their labor, bounce back, count the green, look at what's progressing financially, where they feel that their skill sets and their talents and their teachings and what they're wanting to learn is beginning to pay off, not just in the money that they're making and how their finances are improving or organizing, but in that sincere soul level place of, like, I really love my work. I'm really seeing results from my work. This is good. I'm getting paid for what I love to do. That's the real message for Taurus right now. It's a bold emotional drive. Curiosity abounds. Be incredibly honest with yourself about the pluses and the minuses of all this, because you're halting any sabotage type of agendas with people, with others who might be, as I said earlier, envious or too self-serving around your personality. Fair and balanced feelings are coming into action for Taurus, and it's very strong. It's very strong, and I love that Venus is going to spend 3 weeks in your sign starting the end of April and 1st of May. And for Gemini, been having a lot of Gemini clients lately, and this time frame of Taurus is in your 12th house. And I kind of like to look at the 12th house is when our issues get stirred each year, like that 30 days before your birthday. That's your solar 12th house. It's womb, it's embryonic. You're about to emerge into a new birth on your Earth birthday. So 30 days before your actual day of birth on this planet, it's what's called the 12th house before your birthday, your solar return. But when we have a full moon and the sun moving, so for Geminis, the sun is moving in the sign that's before Gemini. So it's kind of starting the sign before Gemini. That's their 12th house, and that's the 29 to 30 days before their Gemini birthdays, pretty much. So Taurus is the sign, but it's the 12th house for Gemini. So it's those deeper, disgruntled feelings. It's what you keep chewing on. It's kind of a disturbance in your force. Your dreams are going to get stronger. You're going to look at any matters that need reconstruction. You're going to be re-upping your ability to feel the connection with your divine source, being Christ or Buddha or Hindu or ceremony or Mother Nature or whatever that is. I would suggest you lean into whatever gives you that holy, sacred, divine anchor in your world. And I feel like that, Gemini, you need to rearrange your daily habits. It's like, how have I been taking care of myself, or am I putting myself last? It's a very intense, the eclipse in Aries is favorable for Gemini. The Pluto in Aquarius is favorable for Gemini, but not Gemini if you're stuck psychologically on who didn't do things the way you wanted them to do, and you were good to them. So how could they not return the favor? So Geminis, they always want to tell a story. They always need new stories. Otherwise, they just start repeating themselves to different people, same story, different crowd of people. But it's a more intense, serious time about you leaning into and being more enthusiastic about how or if you could be taking better care of yourself. Do you have to dig deeper to eradicate your own toxic qualities or your own debilitating habits or thoughts or verbiage? I mean, are you giving voice to negative thoughts? Like when you say something like, oh, I'm so stupid, I can't believe I did that. It's not that hard to start changing that, because your subconscious is hearing you saying, oh, I'm so stupid, I can't believe I did that, blah, blah, blah. So you need to change up your quote, air quote, expectation of others. Are you, Gemini, too locked up in your opinions, or are you too blinded by their obvious laziness, by them not showing up with what they gave commitment to, by their disrespect of the job's rules or the relationships win-win respect codes like that? So are they honoring their codes and their commitments, and instead of you complaining about it, all the air signs like to avoid stuff like that. Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, oh, it'll change, I'll give it some time, I really don't want to deal with it. The difference in the air signs is Aquarius will cut your ass off. That is disengage emotionally, cut your ass off. I mean, Aquarius can do the light switch with their emotions, on, off, on, off, on, off. Now you see me, now you don't. People put that on Scorpio. Let me tell you, if an Aquarius gets done with you, bye-bye. I mean, it's just, I'm checking out, so that's what can happen. And Pluto's in Aquarius. That, it's gone from 1 to 2 degrees of Aquarius. So 2 is the number of details. So let's look at the details of when we start to shut down and disengage. So I would say that for Gemini, this is not your best risk-taking cycle of 2024. Your 12th house, your solar 12th house, Venus going into Taurus can get you in a great meetup conversation with your significant others. After mid-May, around that full moon when we gather again of the 22nd, 23rd in Sagittarius, that's kind of your coming out party. But I feel like that Gemini, it's all how you put it in your mind. It's a very cerebral, Mercury-ruled sign. So when we give voice to the way we're thinking, first with Gemini, you got to clean up your thinking patterns. You got to stop the complaining, and you got to start complimenting. And I'm not saying in an insincere way, but you need to start looking at that. How can you improve how you communicate, what it is you feel is lacking, or what it is that you would like to see more of in your life. If you're a Cancer, favorable full moon in general, those of you that have a strong Cancerian moon child feature in your chart, full moons, regardless of their sign, they make us full of feelings. The feelings are going to be high tide. So the Scorpio gets along with the Cancerian energy of what it does, and it starts to favor where you want to gather, who you want to ally yourself with, what you feel is something you can be true to or with, and what can be true or congruent with your own actions. So I feel with Cancers, of all the 12 signs, I feel like that Cancer has a really hard time letting go of a lover. I've seen it with Cancer moons, I've seen it with Cancer rising signs, and I've seen it with Cancer sun signs. The Cancer sun signs tend to want to get a partner in a pattern of how they like things done around the house, how they like things done at home. Like, I like coffee in the morning, but I don't have it at night. And the partner goes, okay, but I can have coffee at night, and I'm okay with it. Yeah, but I like to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I want to bring you coffee in bed. Okay, I don't like to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning. I kind of rouse about 8 o'clock, but I tell you what, I'll strike a deal. If you're going off to work, I'll get up with you between 4 and 6 in the morning. I'll be there with you, because Cancer and Libra have to have their companion. It's a we thing. I'll make the coffee for you, or I'll have the coffee for you, but you take off. I don't have to go to work till 9 o'clock or get started till 10 o'clock. I'm going to snooze some more. I knew a Cancer guy that whoever he was dating, whether they were traveling, or they had to check in with him every 4 hours. And I said to him, you're kidding, right? Who does that? That's a little too controlling. Do you find that your female partners are bucking up on that? Well, I know, but if they were respecting the relationship, and that's something I want, then they should check in every 4. They need to call me. Everybody has cell phones. They need to call and check in with me and let me know where they are and how they're doing every 4 hours. I said, I'd kill you. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
I'd
So
leave
you
you.
need to be able-
Never mind
Yeah,
kill
yeah.
you.
You need to be able. I said, oh, and then they said, and I only like women that wear dresses. I don't want women to wear shorts or leggings or yoga pants or pants. And I like women that wear dresses. And I'm like, you need to put this on your account, your dating account, your meetup account. You need to make sure, so they know to swipe left or right. You need to make sure that if that's really something that you're stuck on, and that is your absolute way that you relax sensually, you need to have that conversation with them the first damn time you have a glass of wine. Now listen, so we don't waste each other's time, I only want you to wear a dress. and I want you to bring me coffee. I'll bring you coffee in bed, but you have to call me every 4 hours. You need to if you want to avoid disappointment, you need to meet up with a bunch of women till the other one goes, oh, me too. Then you're going to be happy. Otherwise, you don't need to pay the psychologist or the astrologer or the psychic who's going to go, hey, buddy, are you too rigid much? I mean, really? I mean, you need to have that 1960s style woman, and you need to have, you're wanting a housefrau. You're wanting someone that really wants to be the domestic goddess, and she can just forget about her dreams. Are you going to be taking care of her financially if you're killing all her dreams and all of her extracurricular activities? I mean, really? So, yeah. So, now it wanted to back rub and had to have sex at least 2 times a day. And I'm like, you need to write that shit down, and you need to meet with somebody and go, here's my requirements for a relationship. They're either going to burn it, rip it up, go and see you, or they're going to go, my God, I finally met you. I said, and what a nice day that'll be. So I'm saying that because Cancer men and women assume, and then they get rejected easily, and they feel abandoned, but they don't realize that they're kind of the hamster in the wheel, and they can get a little stuck from their own childhood theater, what dad didn't do for mom. If dad was an alcoholic, if mom, fussed at dad all the time, or he was out whoring around, and mom piled the kids in the car and went looking for dad when you were a little kid in the bars all the time, and he was a womanizer. So then that produces the male or the female that will allow a womanizer or won't put up with a womanizer, and those double standards. So I'm telling you, Cancer, the key to your saving money in therapy or astrologers or soul teachers is you need to clear up your childhood theater crapola. That's what you need to do. You're not your mommy, you're not your daddy, and you got wounded or scared, or you loved your mother because she went through so much domestic turmoil. But, do you realize you might be looking for honoring your mother and your own intimate relationships? You got to unravel. That's a slippery slope, and it's a spider web that most of my Cancerian clients, Cancer moons especially, and Cancer sun signs, they tend to get caught up in that, and they don't do it to be mean-spirited. I am not faulting Cancers on this. I just want you to understand that your level of feeling emotionally secure has got some pretty rigid rules in your playbook of relationship dynamics. So if you can kind of, as Nicole was talking about earlier, these are times of dramatic shifts and changes. Just look back over your last 7 to 10 years. Have your relationships been really smooth, Cancer? And if they haven't, maybe one of the integral elements of that stick in the wheel is you and your expectations and how you're projecting that onto another person. And I say to all signs, sit down, and when you're doing a meet and greet with somebody, or they used to do speed dating and all that, go, I don't put up with infidelity. I love a sense of humor. I don't want people to tell me what to do with my money. I don't want you to be a tightwad. You better tell me the truth. If you want to date other people, I don't give a shit. But don't tell me you're going to be loyal to me and go out there and date other people. If you want an open relationship, just state the facts and say what it is, and I'm probably going to go, next. But what I bring to the table is loyalty, integrity, authenticity. I want to have a good time. You're not going to bully me. I'm not going to bully you. It's not going to happen. Nothing destructive psychologically will be allowed by either party. Capiche? If you don't like that, next. We hold that stuff back too much. And this is a water moon. It's an emotional moon. Taurus is about finding security emotionally and materially. So the Taurus guy, that's a hardworking plumber, and he would love to have a wonderful person to make love to in his home, and he likes that he's sharing his home with somebody, but he can't, you can't then start picking at the partner and say, and be a tightwad. No, don't eat all the crackers. I'm not buying I only buy crackers on Tuesday of every other month. What? How about if I just bring a box of crackers over? Can I eat them then? But that's going to be a bone of contention. So you got to, what Nicole's saying is we can't get too rigid when you've got this psychic flow and this transformational thing, and Pluto's in Aquarius. So you got to pump your brakes, Cancer. Pump your brakes and look at, is my childhood theater dynamics, is the wounded child still at the front piece of what I expect in a relationship? Because that partner can't solve that shit for you. It's not their responsibility, and you're really dumping too much on them to do that. They don't need to be your mommy figure or your daddy figure. Now, if you genuinely can bring out each other's creative inner child, cool, that's a win. So just look deeper at your past and your like do bullet points, do the factors of resistance that you have. What pulls you back? If
Mary,
you're a Leo, Yeah.
We're going to have to speed up the all signs just a little bit because we're
Yes,
going to hit 2 hours if we don't.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you. So, Leo, it's fourth house. And I want to say to Leos that the last 18 months have had you kind of looking at your domestic situation. Do you still want to live there? Do you still want those living with you that are with you? There could have been children, younger people, or parental responsibilities. There could be a high or low cycle going on with your significant other, that it seems like fate is requiring you to attend to that. So I see a lot of domestic family interactions and changes going on with Leo. I don't see good or bad. I just see that where the fate line is crossing with the Taurus Scorpio cycle of this year and the eclipses, and the fact that Mars is going to spend a lot of time in your favorite sign of Aries, is that there's going to be resolutions and solutions. But Leo, it's a process. And I want to say that by early July, and those of you Leos that are born in the first part of Leo, and early July, you're going to see that it's run its course and it's time to fly. And the confusion or the chaos becomes, the confusion, the chaos, or the crisis becomes a bold direction of choice. If you're Virgo, word salad. So word salad is how much to say versus when not to say too much versus when to hold your tongue and don't say too much too soon. So Virgo right now needs that nerve, that courage, that psychological strength to go further out on the edge and not withdraw from people that tend to want to push you into something too quick, too much, almost like try to shame you. If you don't give them their way, sell it to them for what they want it to be, they try to play games and nickel and dime you. So, if it's not yours to cure, then it's not your circus, not your monkey. So you need to ask Virgo, have I stopped all patterns of feeling pushed or abused? And you need to respect yourself. This is a dynamic time for Virgo, and the Taurus favors you. The planets in Pisces have already stirred the pot of controversy of the last 3 years, and you really have been shown who's a false face and who's a true companion or a true ally. So there's something that goes back for you, Virgo, to 2004, 2005, and also 3 years ago. Like I even want to go back to that eclipse of 2017, 6-7 years ago when we had that eclipse in Leo that started to let you see what character somebody had or didn't have. So don't overwhelm yourself or be overwhelmed from other people waiting for their response or letting them draw out a too soon response from you. If you're Libra, it's a second house dynamic, this full moon, and so it has a lot to do with money matters involving masculine, yang, electrical, dynamic, marketing, salespeople that are going to prompt your progress. I feel with Libra that you've been learning from self-contained or repressed anger, and you're moving that into self-empowering modes. Anger, Libra, can actually motivate you if you become aware, if you're expecting to exploit another or they've been exploiting you and you get yourself disengaged from that. Libra's craving structure and order and a resolution of projects that were left hanging or dangling. So I see a lot of forward moves with Libra, but it's like, don't fear it or deny it. Instead, just allow yourself to be triumphant with it. And so we talked about Scorpio because we started with that. Sagittarius, it's a 12th house type of dynamic. This full moon is lighting up your emotional issues. You might find Sagittarius have Scorpio on the solar 12th house. And anything, wherever we have Scorpio in our birth chart, is where we need to recharge our soul battery, where we need to take ye apart a while and rest, as the Bible states. We need to get alone in order to kind of compartmentalize it and sort it all out. And that's a biggie for Sagittarius right now. There may be people from the past, given Mercury doesn't go direct to a couple of days, and then it's going to cross the eclipse point, as we talked about earlier. So I feel Sagittarius has something and someone from a past connection that they're going to revisit that's going to give them some very, very valuable, powerful insights. Again, Taurus is values. Sometimes we get great currency and great wealth and great value by finally getting the puzzle piece that was always missing from our psychological closets. If you're a Capricorn, it's 11th house, so you're upgrading who it is that you want to spend time with, and you may be pleasantly surprised with Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. You're pleasantly surprised with who's wanting to be around you more. And so I feel a livelihood and I feel an effervescence emotionally around you, Capricorn, with, you know, getting hand in hand with a different kind of place or person or gathering of people that seem to match your current vibrations. And I see it being basically an easy cycle for Capricorn after the wasp stingers of the Aries stuff that started to happen in late March and with the eclipse in Aries. And, you know, I mean, it's for Capricorn, they're, you know, maybe they're liquidating a parent's house that passed away, or they're deciding to sell a business or some property, but they're wanting to lighten up and excavate the old commitments and move more into some fresh options. If you're Aquarius, yeah, if you're born early in Aquarius and the January aspects of Aquarius, your whole life is transforming. You've got Pluto. You know, if you're that, you know, you're that January 20th, 21st, 22nd, you're just inside of Aquarius. 2024 and 2025 are hallmark cycles for you. You literally will not be the same person as you come out of this, and you will absolutely be cherishing your independence, your uniqueness, your ambiance, and your ability to elevate. And you'll surprise the crap out of everybody around you. You may walk out of a job, something that you've done for 20 years or 15 years or 14 years, and say, I'm just not doing that anymore. I'm going to go across seas. I'm going to go to Costa Rica. I'm going to move to the Philippines. Like Aquarians are going to be doing like out of the box, wild kind of changes, and it actually will bless them to do so. It's almost as if things have gotten too stagnant and they have to up the ante, and they need boldness and adventure, and they're the pirate on, you know, after the treasure map type of thing, and X marks the spot. And if you're a Pisces, it's been tough with Saturn in your sign. Only happens every 28 and a half to 29 years. And so Pisces, this Scorpio moon is going to help you see where you tend to lean into escapism or avoidance. I feel like that 2023 had some shocks in it as far as who or what slammed the door and left your life by fate, by circumstance, by death of a job, or death of a transition. Somebody actually passed away in your life, that cherished animal or that spouse or that someone. And Pisces, they have a high anxiety, and they tend to they burn themselves out by worrying about this and worrying about that. And I've known more Pisces that have digestive ulcers and either bacterial or peptic ulcers, or high anxiety where they have to start taking prescriptions because they just can't shut their mind off, and they can't shut off that, what about this, and what about that, and what if this happens type of a thing. And that also means that you're wearing the hairs off the goat's ass for the friends and people that love you too, Pisces. So Pisces tends to shut down, run away, stay in bed, sleep it off, get high, whatever they have to do, escape through video or whatever. They really don't want to have to confront the thing. So when a big confrontation and a big closed door happens, they kind of unravel for a while. Saturn is about time, and Saturn is about strengthening your character. So I finally see that Pisces people are going to be able to get the chutzpah and the strength and the courage to emerge and get their head not just above water, but to actually come out of the water and not be sinking and happen to swim in the cesspool of emotions that are all over the place. If you're in Aries, it's 8th house. And so the eclipses and the planets are about your intimacy, your sexuality, the Aries placements in your chart. Aries, be it Mercury or people with Mars in Aries, you're about to see that you're going to be blessed if you can let go of the former things and the older relationships and the intimacies that served valuable purpose but no longer are viable, even if they were destined to come back into your life 3 years from now. For Aries right now, it's embracing the innovative and the new, and maybe it's not the way you thought the script would be since 2014, when we had the reverse of the North Node in Libra. But this is the time for you to just seize the moment, get involved with the opportunity or the challenge of the day, and realize that it was good for you psychologically and mentally to just step up and take action and do what you need to do. So for Aries with the 8th house, it's an 8th year. This full moon is saying, learn from your passions more than your tempers. Aries tend to learn from their anger. They tend to explode first, explain maybe, or maybe not later. I feel like that Aries needs to look at inspiration, aspiration, enthusiasm. And if you don't see enthusiasm around you, make the enthusiasm happen yourself and put that around yourself as you go forth to work or be around others. We talked about Taurus and it being the 7th house. I think we've done it. I think we've done all the planets because Gemini back around to the 6th house. So I guess I want to say that Scorpio is the transformation of your heart, and know that it's a place that you live in. It's a cave, and the Scorpio moon is saying it's okay if you go back into the cave of your deepest secrets and your emotions, but the Taurus is saying, and you deserve happiness too.
I love that. I love that. And so very powerful full moon in Scorpio for everyone. And no doubt this whole entire week is just packing a punch, with the Jupiter Uranus conjunction a few days earlier. Mercury's going to go direct on the 25th. And we've got this whole week of palindrome numbers, right? So it's a really powerful week for making big shifts, for taking a risk and going into the unknown and making the changes that you need to finally make in order to get maybe a breakthrough that you've been really hoping for or wishing for. So I want to wish each and every one of you a powerful experience for this full moon in Scorpio. May it be blessed with the transformation and the alchemy that you desire most in your life. And thank you very much, Mary, for being here once again. I
love you all.
If you guys are interested in catching her new moon in Taurus rundown, that will be on Joe Roop's podcast, Lighting the Void, in early May. I think it's May 7th or 8th is the new moon. And go check that out. And of course, if you want to book a session with Mary, you can contact her at her website, marydusina.com. I will leave the link in the description below. And I am officially off to the retreat. As you guys are watching this, I am actually prepping the space for everyone who's coming. I cannot wait. So Mary, you were spot on with the Taurus being in nature and needing to bring those into nature because I'll be in the mountains and all that great stuff. So guys, I love you so much, Mary. I adore you to bits. And
back at you.
We will convene once again on that full moon in Sagittarius in May. So
and that will be the Wesak moon. Yeah, that will be the moon where we're letting go of attachments. I love you all. Thank you for supporting Nicole and her work. Thank you for donating to her and showing up for both of us as your chosen truth teachers and astrologers and oracle readers, because we don't meet and connect with people by accident. It's all by divine design. And Nicole and I, and there's other good ones too, we're not dissing anybody, can help you learn about divine timing. And that's what we love doing. We love what we do. So bless you all.
Yes. And guys, I will see you next week for yet another wonderful podcast. Have a great week. Thanks again for joining me for another show on the Enlighten Up podcast. I love you guys so much for all of your continued support. So remember to raise your vibe, find your tribe, and be open to the infinite possibilities held in the mysteries that surround us all. Thanks again for sharing the show with your family and friends. And if you're new to the show and you need to find out more information about me, please head on over to my website, NicoleFrolick.com, where you can join my newsletter. And please follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube. Keep your light bright, and I'll see you next week.